How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.
is the end? There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final
Who the fuck is Karlyn? She's just some sweet lady. She's like in a knitting. She does like a knitting stream. She's like a knitting YouTuber. She does knitting.
Can we grow up a little bit and
Alt
not
Girl
be
sent
retarded?
$200. Have you
Please.
seen the work of Karlyn Borysenko? Anti-commie cult leader and is obsessed with looking at what actual far-left communists are talking about and organizing today, infiltrating them. They infiltrated the universities, schools, media. She has the receipts to back it up. Primary source evidence. Infestation is dire and she calls Republicans idiots eating slop. Agree.
Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah, oh, I know Karlyn B. She's solid. She's funny. I
The
like
great
her.
noticer sent $200.
I don't.
Literally.
So
Not
it's,
Ian.
it's not because
Yeah.
I haven't dangled my junk into the combat zone on purpose to get some camera footage, but that's the big part of what's the
Is that
problem.
what you call reporting?
Go
and live
under if
streaming?
you're going to do it.
Yeah,
go
seriously.
undercover. Otherwise, you're wearing a hunk of meat in a lion's den. Nick Shirley, I love you. Take care of yourself, man. Karlyn Borysenko went undercover. Do stuff like that. Like if you want to expose this thing, don't pariah,
But
please.
Ian, here's and I agree with you to an extent.
I watch these streams, and I've been watching a self-professed fascist named Karlyn, who drinks and basically roasts these live streams. But weirdly, she has apparently embedded herself with Antifa before, and so it's such a funny stream because like.
So they tolerate her?
Oh no, not anymore. She like, no. She's like, I mean, I don't know if she's trolling or not, but on her stream, she's like, I am a fascist.
Right.
So she's proudly proclaiming she's a fascist. I don't know how much of that is trolling, how much of it is real, but conservatives who are drawn to her stream will say things like, these people are funded by George Soros. And it's the funniest thing because she gets so mad. And she's like, get off fucking Fox News. Stop watching that shit. It's all wrong. Do these people look funded? Do these people look like they have money? They're not funded. It's so, and I guess her bigger point is by saying these are funded agitators and not saying what they actually are, which is anti-capitalist revolutionaries, you dilute what's really happening. Because what's really happening, according to her, and I think a fair amount of people, is that the economy is so fucked. The middle class is diminishing so much. The cost of living is so high that this is the perfect soil you need if you wanted communism to grow anywhere.
What up, guys? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I don't know why my screen looks so much lighter today than usual. I definitely look brighter, though. I don't know. Maybe StreamYard got an update. Maybe there's some sort of filter being. That's okay. That's all right. It's fine. It's fine. It's probably good that you guys can see me. I'm not sitting in the dark, although it is actually rather dark out because it's just getting to be that time of year. Hey, guys. Happy Monday. How's it going? Listen, we were supposed to do something else today. We were supposed to watch a live presentation from Haymarket Books today. I was all excited about it. I saw that Haymarket Books had a live presentation with Brian Bean, and I was like, bro, I'm not like don't tease me with a good time, Haymarket Books. If you've never encountered Brian Bean before, Brian Bean is one of our favorite far left revolutionary socialists. And the reason that Brian Bean is one of our favorite far left revolutionary socialists is he says the quiet part out loud like all the time. That guy has no filter. That guy forgets that he's talking on video, and we get so many good clips out of Brian Bean. It's not even funny. And so I was all ready to go. And then I checked back like, an hour ago, a half hour ago, and Haymarket Books had changed the date of the live stream to a month from now. So essentially what I think happened is Haymarket Books wrongly scheduled the live stream for today because it absolutely said that the live stream was going to be today at 5 p.m. And then I checked back like an hour ago and they were like, psych, it's actually next month. So it was like a big build-up and then a letdown. A build-up and then a letdown. But that's okay. That's all right because actually I've been wanting to do this Glenn Beck video for a minute because this video came out basically the day of the sham White House Antifa meeting or like the day after it or something like that. And I started watching this video on the stream the day it came out, and then we got distracted with protest stuff and we didn't get into it. But I have been wanting to watch this video that Glenn Beck did, supposedly exposing Antifa and all of their glorious funding sources. I have been wanting to watch this and rip it apart for days and days and days. And so I was like, you know what? Life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Life gives you lemons, you look into the eye and you take the lemons and you swallow them whole and you don't break eye contact and you tell life you're not fucking around anymore. Okay? You just do something else. If something doesn't work out, you just do something else. As it turns out, you can do that if that's how life works. And so instead of watching Brian Bean talk about overthrowing the government today, what we are going to do, turns down volume. They're like, Karlyn, are you going to yell today on the stream? And I'm going to be like, yeah, probably. Probably am. So we are going to see if Glenn Beck knows about Antifa. And guys, Glenn Beck and Nick Sorter have been posting on Twitter today that the FBI is retaining the expert services of Glenn Beck and Nick Sorter because, guys, finally, several weeks after Trump declared Antifa a terrorist organization, the FBI has finally gotten around to opening an investigation into Antifa. Now, I want to just remind everyone, for people who have been telling me for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks that the FBI is already embedded in Antifa, because this is what I heard. After I went undercover with Antifa in New York, all I heard from people is, Karlyn, do you think you are the only one undercover with these groups? And you don't think the government has people undercover with these groups? And I keep telling people, I'm like, no, actually, unironically, I actually do think I know more about the far left than the government, and I think it's not even close. And unironically, I don't think the FBI actually has people embedded in these groups. And do you know why I think that? Actually, let's go to my Twitter page. I'll show you why I fucking think that. I'll show you why I think that. Hang on. My Twitter page. Uh-oh. There it goes. I probably just could have followed the bookmark I have on my browser. Yeah, it would have been too easy. That would have been too easy for me. We can never just follow the bookmark we have. We actually have to type in the URL because I'm old school like that. Do you know why I don't think the FBI has people embedded with Antifa? Because Glenn Beck literally posted earlier today, and Nick Sorter posted the same exact thing. The FBI showed up to my house to discuss my TV show exposing Antifa's network. If you are a member of Antifa or providing material or financial support to Antifa, you might be a little concerned because the FBI is dead ass serious about investigating you. So you're telling me that the FBI, 2 weeks after Trump has declared Antifa a terrorist organization, you're telling me that the FBI has just gotten around to opening an investigation on Antifa, and the first place they went was Glenn Beck's house. And Nick Sorter's house, too. Nick Sorter also got a call from the FBI. In fact, hey, hang on a sec. I tweeted about that as well. I tweeted about that. Here it is. I said my eyes could not roll back any further. Nick Sorter says, new. The FBI has launched a full investigation into Antifa. That's new? I was to understand Antifa was declared a terrorist organization weeks ago. The FBI has just gotten around to launching a full investigation into Antifa. I'm sorry, when was, what, does anyone remember what date was Kash Patel confirmed? Does anyone have it off the top of their head? What date was Kash Patel confirmed as the FBI director? Was that back in February? Was that in March? How many months has it been since Kash Patel was confirmed as the FBI director? And the FBI has just gotten around to opening an investigation into Antifa. And P.S., actually, why don't we just look at this? Deportations. Do you want to know why I know more? That's not actually what I wanted to click on at all. That is not what I wanted to click on at all. Here it is. That's what I wanted to click on. Do you know why I think I know more than the FBI does about Antifa? Because the FBI just opened an investigation into Antifa. I have been talking since January. I have been talking since literally the day after Trump got inaugurated into office. I have been telling people, here are Antifa's plans to fight Trump's deportations. And I gave the entire fucking plan. I gave the entire plan about how Antifa was going to attack ICE facilities. I gave the entire plan about Antifa's strategy. You can go back and find this on the Substack. I literally broke down Antifa's plans for attacking ICE facilities, which they are now doing in the real world, in Chicago and in Portland. And I knew this on January 21st. Kash Patel was confirmed on February 20th. It has been March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. It has been 8 fucking months since Kash Patel got confirmed as the director of the FBI. And you're telling me the FBI is just now getting around to opening a full investigation on Antifa, and the first place they go is Glenn Beck and Nick Sorter. This is not real. This is not serious. If the FBI was actually serious about investigating Antifa, they would have been on top of this, I don't know, at the beginning of the Trump administration like I was. They would have already had people embedded. They would have already had an investigation opened. And certainly it would have happened more than a couple weeks after declared Antifa a terrorist organization. Guys, I'm sorry if I am breaking hearts here. But when I say that I know more than the federal government about the far left, what I mean is I know more than the federal government about the far left. And many of you who watch my content on a regular basis also know more about than the federal government about the far left. Like, my community could probably run circles around the FBI. Certainly we can run circles around Glenn Beck. Certainly we can run circles around Nick Sorter. We could combine the collective brain power of Glenn Beck and Nick Sorter together, and I would still run circles around them on my knowledge of the far left, and so would many of you. Did I call the FBI? Why hasn't the FBI called me? I'm not calling the FBI. I don't give a fuck about helping the federal government. I don't give a fuck about helping these people. Do you want to know why I am not going to go run to the FBI and say, hey guys, hey, do you want to actually be serious about Antifa? Because the day before Charlie Kirk got assassinated, I tried sending information to Harmeet Dillon, the Assistant Attorney General of the United States, and I was told emphatically by Harmeet Dillon that she cared more about my use of capital letters than she did about my information about communists in America. I have been sending information to the Department of Justice all fucking year through Harmeet Dillon's DMs, and I have the receipts to back this up if anyone doesn't believe me. It's not as though these people don't know who I am. Harmeet Dillon used to support my work before I came out publicly against Israel, and then she had to stop supporting my work. So don't tell me. Don't tell me, Karlyn, you have an obligation to go to the FBI. No, I don't. I already went to the Assistant Attorney General of the United States, and I was told that my use of capital letters was more concerning than my information about communists in America. So far as I'm concerned, the FBI can go fuck itself. They are on their own. I will do my investigating over here, and I will do my research over here, and the FBI can avail themselves of my YouTube streams and my online classes and my consulting services through decodetheleft.com, where the FBI can pay me money, and maybe if I have time in my schedule, I will help them if they pay me an absurd amount of fucking money, because I'm not doing this out of the goodness of my heart. These people don't know what the fuck they're doing, and I'm way too far ahead of these people to be doing any hand-holding. I have worked hard to get where I am. I have worked insanely hard to develop the library of information that I have. And if the FBI wants access to it, then they can hire me for a consulting contract in which they will pay me a metric fuck ton of money, and then I will help them. But so far as I'm concerned right now, they haven't earned my help, given that I've been trying to send them information all year long, and I've been ignored, and I've been shit on, and I've been laughed at, and I've been defamed by these fucking people over and over and over and over and over again. They can go to Nick Sorter and Glenn Beck. They can go get their information from Nick Sorter and Glenn Beck, and we can see exactly how this goes. So we're going to be watching Glenn's video today, and it honestly pains me. It honestly does, because I knew Glenn Beck in 2020. I chatted with Glenn Beck more than a few times in 2020. I have Glenn Beck's private email address that he doesn't even give out to some of his staff. That's how that it's not as though I actually do Glenn Beck was actually very, very nice to me in 2020. I know exactly how many stories I've sent Glenn Beck and his team over the years that they haven't bothered to cover. I know all the times that I'm undercover at leftist events, and I sent that information directly to these people, and they didn't even think it was worth looking. So, although I personally do appreciate things that Glenn Beck has done to me in the past, or for me in the past, the fact of the matter is that if Glenn Beck is misinforming the public about what's going on the left, I am going to rip him a new asshole like he's never been ripped one before, because he has a gigantic platform, and Glenn Beck lying to the public is a problem for me. And based on the 5 minutes of this video that I've already seen, because I did start watching it, based on the 5 minutes that I've seen of this video, Glenn Beck doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to Antifa. He is shilling a narrative around the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which is not Antifa, which is exactly what I've been saying all along, ever since I first saw that first executive order. The Trump administration is not going after Antifa. They're going after the Party for Socialism and Liberation. The Party for Socialism and Liberation is the one with the CCP funding. They are not Antifa. Antifa hates the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And everything I've seen about this video and the entire narrative coming out of the Trump administration tells me they are going after the Party for Socialism and Liberation, not Antifa. And yes, this difference matters. This difference matters because the PSL, well, they are annoying. Well, they are ubiquitous. Well, they are an organization that is absolutely a problem. I would have no problem with the Trump administration taking out the PSL. That's not the issue. I'm not a fan of the PSL. The PSL is a far-left revolutionary party with very deep pockets, with an organized presence all over the country. They have actual liberation centers set up in every major American city to organize around the far left and do all that stuff. Well, all that stuff is true, and it would be great for the PSL to go away, and I do think that would be a good step. The fact of the matter is the PSL is nonviolent. The PSL doesn't engage in violence. They just don't. And that is why Antifa hates them, because the PSL won't engage in violence or destruction because the PSL cares about optics. Antifa has explicitly written about this. They don't want to work with the PSL because they consider the PSL to be paid protesters. Also, Antifa doesn't support China. Antifa doesn't like China. Antifa thinks the CCP is capitalist. Who is supporting the PSL? It's the CCP connections. So there's a fundamental difference in philosophy between Antifa and the PSL. So for Glenn Beck to do a whole fucking show about the PSL, but calling them Antifa, this is a big fucking problem. Because if you do not understand the difference between Antifa and the PSL, then you do not understand the problem. And doing something about the PSL, well, it is all fine, well, and good. It is not going to stop the violence of Antifa. We have got to be strategic and pragmatic about the different types of groups that exist. It does not matter if they take out the PSL. Taking out the PSL, which, by the way, the PSL has not been involved in the ICE protests almost at all, not outside the ICE facilities. They do protests, they do rallies, they do marches, but the PSL is not outside of the ICE facilities. I have been watching the ICE facility protest coverage for weeks and weeks and weeks. When the PSL is out in front of a place, they are extremely visible and their signs are very, very clear. The PSL is marching in marches. That's true. They're still doing that. They were at the one in Chicago last week. The PSL is still organizing events. That's very true. The PSL is absolutely going to be involved in the No King's Day thing. They're probably going to be in DC. The PSL are the ones that bus people into protests. Anytime you see a story around busing, that is almost always the PSL. However, the PSL is not protesting out in front of the ICE facilities, at least not in Chicago and Portland, and I don't think in Los Angeles either. And so these are two different groups. If your goal is to stop the protesting outside of the ICE facilities, to stop the violence that's going on there, to stop these people from trying to burn down these ICE facilities, because that's exactly what they want to do, taking out the PSL isn't going to do shit. Again, you need to hinge back into reality. I am sick and tired of conservatives thinking if they solve this problem, they're solving this problem. No, if you're solving this problem, you're solving this problem over here. It's not going to do shit about this problem. And you have to start being honest about the different groups involved and what's actually going on. Because if you want to make progress, then you actually have to solve for the correct problem. All right? So we're going to be watching this video and I'm going to be doing a little commentary on it. Now, we do have a little bit of a time schedule today because we have a spy stream coming up. And guys, this spy stream, I promise you, it's not often I make promises when it comes to spy stream because spy stream is when we go inside a live leftist training and we talk about it. And we watch the training unfold. And so we never know exactly what is going to be said and done in these live trainings when we go into them. But what I can tell you is that I am pretty sure the spy stream that we are doing tonight, starting in about an hour and 15 minutes, it's starting at 6:45. I'm pretty sure this one's going to be a good one. Can't guarantee everything. It's a live event. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a good one. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm not going to tell you where it is. I'm just going to tell you that it has to do with trans activism. And if you want to get involved with Spy Stream, head over to the Substack. That is Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com. This is a supporter exclusive stream. The best place to support my work is over on Substack for $8 a month, $80 a year. If you go into the Spy Stream category, you will be able to find the link in there. I'm not going to scroll down because this section after here is only for paid supporters. And so I don't want you to see that. But that is available on the Substack. Now, if you are a YouTube channel member, because I know we have a lot of new YouTube channel members, you can find the Spy Stream information in the community or the post tab, whatever they call that. I did share the Spy Stream link over there. If you are a Locals member, you can find it there. If you are a Patreon supporter, you can find it there. And if you are an ex-subscriber, you can find the information there. So basically for supporters on my main Substack, Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com, on YouTube channel memberships, Twitter supporters, Patreon supporters, and local supporters, you can find the link on whatever platform you support on. This Spy Stream is going to be getting started around 6:45 tonight, so we do have to get into our stream. I also want to remind people we had to push back the volunteer meeting for the Center for Left-Wing Studies. So we do have a volunteer meeting in Discord tonight for the Center for Left-Wing Studies. If you've signed up for that, you should be able to find the information in the Discord. We are going to have to start that meeting at 8:30 because we are doing the spy stream up until 8:30. But if you haven't yet signed up to volunteer, what you need to do is go to leftwingstudies.com, click volunteer, ignore the fact that that says 8 p.m. It's going to start at 8:30 because of the spy stream, and follow the instructions on the page and get into the Discord, and you can join us. Now, if you can't join us tonight for the meeting, there's going to be other meetings. So this will not be the last meeting. This is just the first meeting. So if you can't join us tonight, don't worry about it. You can still get involved. Excuse me. You can still get involved with the Center for Left-Wing Studies, but the first meeting will be tonight at 8:30. I hope to see a lot of you there. And then we'll do movie night in the supporter Discord after that with MacB. So MacB, I'm sure, is going to be flexible and delay the start of movie night a half hour so we can have our full meeting and our spy stream and all that good stuff. All right. Let's see. Nomeo says, stop. I'm laughing too hard. Well, either you laugh or you cry. If this is the best the government can do, then maybe it deserves to be overthrown by the communists. It's a thought that goes through my head almost every single day, average person. Thank you for that. I'm in a National Socialist Active Club and I support your activism. Well, I'm not a National Socialist, and I want to make that very clear because I'm on YouTube. I am not a National Socialist, but everyone is welcome on my channel, regardless of your political ideology. I don't really care. We don't have to agree on everything. If you want to learn about the far left, you are more than welcome here, so I appreciate that. But why Glenn Beck? They really think he can tip? Well, I don't know. Why Glenn Beck? Because he adheres to the narrative. All right, guys, let's see. Oh, we got a new member of the channel. Awesome. Welcome. Appreciate it. All right, guys, we're going to be getting into this review of Glenn Beck's video now. As a reminder, if you are new in my chat, because there's been a shocking number of people who are insulting me in the chat. As a reminder, we do have rules in the chat. Rule number 1, do not insult me. Do not insult other people in the audience. This is very simple, guys. If you're going to hang out in my chat, don't be a dick. It's very, very simple. I watch radical, hardcore, revolutionary socialism for a living. I don't need to deal with your bullshit on top of it. So if you have thoughts about me, take them somewhere else. If you put them in the chat, you're going to get permanently banned, and we're not going to feel sorry for you. And then you're going to go cry somewhere else. And that's going to be entirely up to you. So number 1, don't be a dick. Do not insult me. Do not insult other people in the audience. I can say and do whatever I want because you are in my house. But if you're going to be in my house, you're going to play by my rules. Number 2, no whining. I don't want to hear it. I don't care about your feelings. I don't have kids for a reason. I certainly don't want to be mothering every single person on the internet who is having feelings on any given day. If you have something to whine about, go tell your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever you need to do. Go tell your fucking therapist. Go whine about it on Twitter. I don't really care, but do not whine in my chat because I don't want to hear it. All right? Everyone, make sure you mount the like button for me. Everyone, make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you are so inclined. And let's see what Glenn Beck had to say.
Hello, America.
Hello, Glenn.
Hello, America. Sometimes those words, if you're living in some cities in America, I bet it sounds a little alien to you because it might feel a little more like you're currently behind enemy lines if you're living in places like Portland or Chicago. Does it feel like America in some of our places in our country, some cities in our country, or does it seem more like the People's Republic of? Then you just insert the random city name, the People's Republic of Portland. It's about to be the People's Republic of New York. Later in the show, I'm going to talk to Nick Sorter, who has a firsthand account of the insanity that is currently going down in Portland, Oregon.
Nick Sorter and Glenn Beck are going to save us all from Antifa, guys. It's all over. They won. We lost. Whatever.
And I want you to watch. When, at some point in the interview, I was talking to him. I did the interview earlier, and a police car goes behind him, and it's a great distance behind him, and his whole body changes. You can tell he no longer views the police. He's a supporter of the police. No longer views the police as an ally, having his back. We're living in a different time. Nick was wrongfully accused by the Portland Police Department, and charges against him have all been dismissed. He's going to He's suing the Portland police, and I think he should. He was there to document how the police handled Antifa attacks against federal officers. And in doing so, as they're going after him, he is just trying to just be cool, not get into a fight. And he's the one arrested, not Antifa. It's interesting. Nick's been invited to the White House today, along with people like Andy Ngo, to talk about their experiences with Antifa in places like Portland. My conversation with him in just a few minutes. Now, there are two very painful reality checks that need to happen right now.
Yeah, there
are.
are,
The first
Glenn.
one
There
goes
are,
for the
indeed.
radical left.
Oh,
And it goes
okay.
as follows.
Oh.
Donald Trump won the election last November, but it wasn't just any election. It was a historic landslide that showed an unprecedented shift towards the right. There was a clear mandate given for President Trump's agenda, and at the top of the list was fixing the.
This is the first part where I lost my shit on the like the first time I started watching this. What Glenn Beck doesn't seem to understand is that the radical left doesn't give a flying fuck about your elections. The radical left is not going to say, oh no, Glenn Beck told us we lost the election, guys. I guess it's time to go home. I guess there's nothing left to see here. The radical left doesn't give a flying fuck about elections because the radical left wants to overthrow the government. The radical left does not support the Democratic Party in any way. They think the Democratic Party is exactly the same as the Republican Party. They do not participate in elections. They do not believe that any elections are valid. And therefore, ergo, you saying, listen up, leftists. Don't you know you lost an election? It's literally means nothing to the left. This is just Glenn throwing red meat to his base so the base can go, yeah, we won, they lost, left is dead, woke is dead, we won an election. That's all this is.
Broken border and deporting illegals. Right beside this was restoring law and order. Now, I'm sorry for this reality check, but it couldn't be more clear. But here is the second reality check, and it's for anybody like me or you that might have voted for this historic mandate. The left is so clearly willing to do whatever it takes to ensure the will of the American voters never actually happens. It is stunning.
That's true.
That includes violence, real bloodshed in the streets. For the people trapped behind the lines within the People's Republic of Portland, it means you have been forced to endure over 100 straight nights of Antifa, the thugs, running your entire city. And I really mean running it. You watch as federal officers exit their buildings every night and proceed to get attacked by everybody who is, I think, clinically insane, some of them violent anarchists and leftists. Instead of the evening, smell and sounds of a great, vibrant city, you smell tear gas and hear explosions. And this is just one city, and it's not the only one. In the People's Republic of Chicago, things are about to get much worse than even Portland. I mean, just saying that seems hard to believe. How could it get worse than Portland? Well, in Chicago, federal agents are stalked, chased down, and ambushed. And on top of that, the local police there are being held back.
The biggest difference between Portland and Chicago that people should know about, Portland's protests are primarily being run by Antifa. Chicago's protests, based on what I've seen, this could be wrong, but based on what I've seen, Chicago's protests are being run by immigrant rights organizations. Now, immigrant rights organizations are extremely far left. That's very true. But they're not the same thing as Antifa. They're just completely different groups. So there is a little bit of a different vibe in Chicago and Portland, even though Chicago now is starting to adopt some of the tactics of Portland. We just really always need to keep in mind that these are two very different groups of people. What's going on in Portland is going to be different than what's going on in Chicago. The two groups are going to behave differently. They're going to escalate differently. They're not influenced by the same people. Okay? Well, yeah, Chicago. Well, you know what? The DSA is very big in Portland too. Listen, the DSA owns half of the Portland City Council. The DSA actually has half of the city council seats as elected representatives in Portland. The DSA owns Chicago because the mayor of Chicago is a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, and they also have a lot of elected people in local positions as well.
Were denied the ability to respond when federal agents called for help. Get into this here in a little bit, but I mean, Could you make it more obvious what they're doing? Could you make it any more obvious that they are declaring war on the American voters?
Yeah, they declared
and
war
on the
back
United
in
States
January.
of America,
Glenn.
our federal
In
government.
January.
As it turns out, yeah, they can. Here's the mayor of Chicago on Monday.
And today we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
Just curious, what do you call it when an elected official issues orders in direct defiance of the U.S. government? I mean, I think some could call it an insurrection, at the least. But it is a bit bigger than a, whoops, my bad moment. This is a violation of the supremacy clause of the Constitution.
Hang on.
You want to talk about...
Dean Bob has a good question. I'm going to answer it because I think this might be a question that other new people have. Can any group outside of Antifa be far left? Yes. Yes. There are many, many, many different groups on the... This is why, guys, listen, go to my website. Hang on, I'll do it. Decode. Oh, shit. Okay. We will put this link in the chat as well. We're going to my website, decodetheleft.com. And what I want you to do is go to decodetheleft.com/map. Okay. So on here, you're going to see this. I've created a website specifically to explain to people. Here are all the different categories on the far left. We have 5 tiers of people on the far left. We have tier 1 Democrats, tier 2 liberals, tier 3 progressives, tier 4 democratic socialists, tier 5 revolutionary socialists. The farther up they are, the more extreme they are. Okay. So when I say the far left, when I'm talking about the far left, I mean tier 4 and 5, democratic socialist and revolutionary socialist. Why do I mean tier 4 and 5? Because Democrats, liberals, and progressives do not want to overthrow capitalism. And when I say capitalism, I mean the United States government and the Constitution, because the far left believes that the United States government and the Constitution are grounded in capitalism, and you cannot overthrow capitalism without overthrowing those two things. So when we're talking about the far left, we're talking about tiers 4 and 5 of this chart. I do very little on Democrats, liberals, and progressives on this channel. I really don't talk about them because, quite frankly, they're not that interesting. Now, to go back to, and there's more information on this website. Again, this is decodetheleft.com/map. You can go here and read all this stuff for yourself. Can there be more groups on the far left? Yes. There are tons of different groups on the far left that are not Antifa. Antifa is a very, very, very specific group with very specific principles, with very specific values, with very specific operating techniques. You might let me name some of the other groups on the far left. You have Antifa, you have Bashback, you have the Firebrand Collective, you have the Tempest Collective, you have you could even say the Working Families Party is far left, the Party for Socialism and Liberation is far left. The Democratic Socialists of America, they're far left. They do want to overthrow capitalism, but they want to do it through reformism, through getting elections and stuff like that. There are tons and tons and tons of groups on the far left that are not Antifa. Okay, Antifa is a very specific group. Now, there is some overlap between Antifa and other groups, but not as much as you might think. So, for example, if we're looking at something like the Denver Communists are a group we watch a lot on the channel. The Seattle Revolutionary Socialists, there may be members of Antifa that are members of like the Denver Communists and the Seattle Revolutionary Socialists, but not everyone in those groups is also a part of Antifa, okay? So there may be some overlap. It's like a Venn diagram, but they are fundamentally two completely different groups with two completely different strategies, and it just so happens that sometimes there might be members in both, but not as much as you might think. So when we're talking about Antifa, we are talking about a very, very specific group on the far left that is an extreme anarcho-communist group that get their marching orders from things like CrimethInc, that are distributing propaganda all over the country, that are engaging in direct action, that are dressing up in black bloc. Not everyone on the far left dresses up in black bloc. I mean, you can even look at these immigrant rights groups in Chicago. The immigrant rights groups in Chicago are not dressing up in black bloc. They're carrying Mexican flags. These are two different groups. I know that people think I'm getting pedantic about this, but the fact of the matter is that different groups have different cultures, have different belief systems. They all behave differently. If you're looking at an immigrant rights group and you think it's Antifa, you are going to be fundamentally confused about why that group does what it does, because immigrant rights groups behave completely differently than Antifa. Steve says Portlandia, tiers 1 through 3, ICE protest, tiers 4 and 5. Yeah, I think that might be a fair way to put it, Steve. Thank you for that. Love your streams, Karlyn, but I'll catch you later because I have to work. Hey, no worries, Smiley. Thanks for the money. Appreciate it. So thanks for asking that question. Of course, it's a lot more complicated than that, but that's going to have to be a good enough answer for today.
Constitution and our republic is under attack. Here it is. The authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Has the mayor of Chicago or Portland heard this little part of the Constitution? Do they care? Or is it now they just don't care anymore? They fully embrace the attitudes of their little street thugs and soldiers where it is by any means necessary. And the political violence now endorsed as a legitimate means of resistance. In the People's Republic of Portland, it's not just federal officers that are in danger, but also journalists who are trying to report on what's happening. Katie Daviscourt, she's a reporter for the Post Millennial. She was given a black eye after being smacked in her face by an Antifa-affiliated thug. Now, according to Katie, the Portland police didn't do anything in response. Quote, I immediately ran to a Portland police officer, hunted down the suspect, chased her through the streets and said, this is my assault suspect. Can you guys finally do anything? Portland police refused to come in and make an arrest. What? Why are the police holding back when it comes to any moves at all against groups like Antifa? I mean, why are they being held back? And who's holding them back? Is it the cops? Is it somebody hired? Are they scared? Are they in on it? Whatever the answer is, this is clearly a trend. I showed you this from Chicago, but I want to put it back up on the screen. This is the readout of the Chicago Police Dispatch. The call came through from ICE asking for help at 12:28 p.m. Now, I want you to put yourself in the position, you're an ICE officer, okay? And you are there in the field, imagine the nature of this call, and you are now surrounded by people who literally want to kill you. Federal officers, quote, surrounded by a...
Hang on. Shannon, this is a typical conservative response, and I need you to think outside of this response if you actually want to understand the left. This is not about owning the libs, okay? That's not what we do here. It seems to me like the vast majority of nonviolent left defends the ideology knowingly and sometimes unknowingly supports whatever the violent left wants to believe. Okay, Shannon, do you defend every single thing that Trump says and does? Do you defend every single thing that every Republican says and does? Because I can point out many times when Republicans are doing and saying really shitty things. Are you defending that when you don't speak out against them? This is a conservative own, guys. This is what you're trying to do here, Shannon. I'm going to make it real clear. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get away to own the libs in the Democratic Party. Well, the Democratic, let me write what you really wanted to write here. Well, it seems to me the vast majority of the Democratic Party defends this ideology and knowingly or sometimes unknowingly and supports the violent far left. That's what you're actually saying. You're talking about the Democrats because you want to be able to own the Democrats because that's all you guys seem to care about sometimes. This has nothing to do with the fucking Democrats. Trying to if you idiots think that defeating the Democrats is going to defeat Antifa, that is crazy. If you think that defeating the Democrats in the midterm elections is going to defeat Antifa, that is fundamentally unhinged from reality. What Antifa is doing has nothing to do with the Democrats. Owning the libs with your most favorite talking points isn't going to stop the problem. So conservatives are going to have to make a decision. Do you guys want to solve the fucking problem, or do you want to own the libs? Which do you want? 1 in the chat if you want to solve the problem, 2 in the chat if you want to own the libs. If you want to solve the problem, we need to start talking about Antifa. If you want to own the libs, by all means, keep blaming the Democrats for all of it and the Democrat media for all of it, just like Trump is doing. Trump did it in that bullshit Antifa press conference where he was like, it's because of the Democrat media that Antifa is a problem. No, Antifa is a problem because Antifa has a set of values that involve overthrowing the United States government that is completely separate from the Democratic Party. If you wiped the Democratic Party off of the face of the fucking earth today, if you literally wiped every single Democrat voting person off of the face of the earth today, you would not stop Antifa. Antifa does not vote for the Democrats. Antifa doesn't like the Democrats. Antifa doesn't support the Democrats. Antifa is going to do whatever the fuck they're going to do, regardless of if the Democratic Party exists or not. So it's time to make a fucking decision. Do you want to stop Antifa, or do you want to own the libs? Which is it? If you want to own the libs, get the fuck off my channel and go back to Fox News. You don't belong here. If you want to actually stop the problem of the far left, you are welcome to stay.
Large crowd of people. Now, we know this involved multiple vehicles ramming into the cars of the federal officers. There was an armed woman. Shots were fired. Imagine this call at 12:28 p.m. We're surrounded.
No. Let's take this. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. No, you fucking can't. Can't we do both? Can't we own the libs and talk about Antifa at the same time? We want to do both. You assholes are so fucking desperate to talk about the Democrats. Can you do both? No. There's no history of you doing both. Not in the entire existence of the Republican Party have you ever been able to do both. You have never, ever, literally fucking never been successful. No. Oh, you're joking? Oh, you're joking? I don't think it's fucking funny. I don't think it's funny. This is, again, another example. We just want to own the libs. We're going to beat the Democrats in the midterms. Well, congratulations. Antifa is still going to be violent and still going to be trying to burn down society. And by the way, conservatives, they're still queering and transing your kids in public school. While you're making jokes on the internet to own the libs to make yourself feel better, you're giving yourself a fucking high five. Your kids are being queered in school by these people and being taught gender doesn't fucking exist. When will you start taking this seriously? What is going to be required for conservative retards to start taking this fucking problem seriously? Oh, it gets more cringe every time? Oh, it does? Oh, you just got permanently banned from the channel. You don't belong here. Let's get those tears out, conservatives. Let's see those tears in the chat. I know I've already been banning people for being fucking ridiculous.
We need help. Send backup. Now look up at the timestamp for what followed. 12:34. That is 6 minutes later. Now, I've never been in combat, but I imagine if I asked anyone in combat how long 6 minutes feels when they're in combat, I would think it would feel more like an hour in the fog of chaos. At 12:34, directly from the chief of patrol, no units respond to this. The dispatcher actually had to go back and say, wait a minute, just to be clear, they said they were surrounded and you want...
No, USAID does not fund Antifa. Only retards that listen to conservative media thinks USAID funds Antifa. And let's just get it out of the way. George Soros doesn't fund Antifa. Anyone who thinks that George Soros funds Antifa, you need to stop listening to whatever media taught you that, because it is not true. Not in any way. And no, you have no evidence, and I will rip apart any evidence that Glenn Beck wants to present because I already read the White House report on this. I know exactly what the White House report says, and guess what? The White House's own report has no evidence of George Soros funding Antifa.
Want me to call off all units? Yes. Okay. Now imagine how many more times ICE agents called back to Chicago Dispatch hoping for some kind of response. Did they even respond? Or did they just sit there in silence? I think this must be a lot like how average citizens feel in these Antifa.
All right, pop quiz for the chat. Let's see who's smarter than every conservative retard who listens to Glenn Beck. Who funds Antifa? I'm not going to answer this question. My chat is going to answer this question. You're going to learn from other people in the chat. Who funds Antifa? How is Antifa funded? Mutual aid, grassroots funding, mutual aid. Imagine losing to people who wear inflatable costumes, crazy. Oh, and skin costume bikers. Oh, yeah, exactly. Imagine losing to the people in Portland. That's the reality right now, conservatives. You are losing to the people in Portland. Thank you, Tayton. Antifa funds themselves, mutual aid, self-funded. Nope, that's the Party for Socialism and Liberation. That one billionaire living in China is the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which is not Antifa. Antifa hates the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Antifa won't work with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Antifa explicitly denounces the CCP. They think the CCP is capitalist. Isn't that funny? You never heard that on Glenn Beck before. Surely he knows more about this than I do, since he's the one the FBI is consulting with. Mutual aid is how Antifa is funded. Look at all the brilliant people in my chat who listen to me, who look at the primary source evidence, who know that Antifa is funded by mutual aid. I can't pull all your answers up on the screen because there's a lot of right answers in the chat. Look at that. Look at that. How much do we know more than conservative influencers? A lot. My boss is letting me watch it work. Thanks, Karlyn. Mutual aid. Exactly. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. Because it's not. They must be funded. They must be. Both are true. Both are true. This is the favorite conservative line. Both are true. We can do both. Both are true. We can do both. Do you have any fucking evidence? It's not true just because you want it to be true. Just because Glenn Beck says it does not mean it is true. It's not true just because it would make a convenient story. There is no fucking evidence. Zero evidence. Stop making shit up. My God.
Hellholes. Places. You're an innocent bystander. You don't want anything to do one way or another. You just want your life. It's happening all over the country.
Yeah. You guys want to talk about Trump derangement syndrome? Conservatives have George Soros derangement syndrome. Conservatives, in the White House's own report, there is no evidence that any of this is being funded by George Soros. No evidence. Zero evidence. Have you read the report? Because I read the report. Why haven't you read the report? Did you just trust influencers to tell you what's going on? Do you actually think the influencers have read the report? Because I'm going to bet all the money in my bank account they haven't. The report literally has zero evidence in it. Go read the fucking report. Don't talk to me about how you guys are free thinkers when you don't even read primary source information. It's honestly fucking gross. Why isn't the Democratic Party concerned about... Why isn't the Republican Party? Well, Karlyn, you just don't understand. The Democrats aren't doing anything to stop Antifa. Why isn't the Republican Party interested in Antifa? You want to ask me a question like this? Again, out of your sheer desperation to own the libs. This has nothing to do with getting to the truth. This has nothing to do with fixing the problem. This has to do with we have to own the libs. The fucking obsession with owning the libs. So I'm not going to answer this question. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to say, why isn't the Republican Party concerned about Antifa? Why isn't the Republican Party concerned about Antifa? Neither will the fucking Republicans. The Republicans lie to their audiences. The Republicans go after the wrong groups. The Republicans don't even know how to define Antifa. The Republicans don't know the difference between the different groups on the far left. The Republicans won't even admit what Antifa is and isn't. So don't fucking tell me that you're morally superior to the Democrats because you're doing exactly the same fucking thing. Oh, are they? Then why aren't they being arrested? Oh, Karlyn, Trump designated them a terrorist organization. Why isn't he fucking arresting them then? Where are the mass arrests? I was to understand they were terrorists. Why haven't they been arrested? Why can't any member of the Republican Party even define what Antifa is? Why is every fucking Republican making excuses for why Trump can't arrest Antifa? You assholes make excuses for why you can't do anything to stop Antifa all the time. And then you blame the Democrats for your own fucking excuses. You guys control the presidency. You control the Senate. You control the House. You control ICE. You control Homeland Security. And you're telling me that you can't do anything about Antifa. You control the Department of Justice. You control the FBI. You're telling me we can't have mass arrests of Antifa. Why hasn't that happened? Probably for the same reason we haven't had mass deportations, because Trump was never serious about doing mass deportations either. So I'm sick of the fucking owning the Democrats in the chat. Until you assholes start taking responsibility for your own side, I don't want to hear any owning of the fucking libs. Banhammer replacement fund? Yeah. Oh, Trump is getting closer? Oh, okay. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. They were. I just don't. It was all because Antifa supports the Democrats, Karlyn. Antifa wasn't trying to overthrow the government when Biden was in office. Yes, they were, you absolute retard. Do you want me to play you about 50,000 fucking clips I have during the Biden administration of the far left talking about overthrowing the federal government? They were. You just weren't paying attention, because you listened to conservative media that lied to you and you didn't know what the fuck was going on. One in the chat, if you saw at least one clip from a far left group on my channel during the Biden administration where they were talking about overthrowing the federal government. I know there's a lot of new people here, but there's a lot of old people too. One in the chat, if you've seen at least one clip during the Biden administration of the far left talking about overthrowing the government. Oh, look at all those ones. They were trying to overthrow the government during the Biden administration. You just didn't know about it because your media didn't report on it, because conservative media, like Glenn Beck, and by the way, I sent Glenn Beck specifically information multiple to actually, hang on a second. Hang on a second. I'm about to get into my DMs on something. Hang on a second. Hang on a fucking second, because the thing is, Glenn Beck follows me on Twitter. Hey, guess what? Here's a DM I sent to Glenn Beck on March 1st, 2024. You can see, this is my DM with Glenn Beck. This is a clip of far left communists talking about overthrowing the federal government March 1st, 2024 during the Biden administration in Glenn Beck's fucking email or DMs. This is not the only thing I sent Glenn Beck during the Biden administration. So don't fucking tell me that Antifa wasn't doing anything until Trump got in office because it is all a secret Democrat plan. They've always been trying to overthrow the government. They were talking openly about overthrowing the government. In this clip, they talk about raising the red flag of fucking communism above the White House. Did Glenn Beck care back then? Why didn't Glenn Beck report on this back then? Why didn't Glenn Beck tell everyone about this? You want to know why? Can't use it against the Democrats then. In this clip specifically, they make fun of the right for not understanding that communists are different than Democrats too, by the way. Glenn Beck didn't do shit. So I am tired of hearing, why aren't the Democrats doing anything about this? Why aren't the fucking Republicans? Why aren't influencers who have known about this for a long-ass fucking time and never told their audience? I am sick of the fucking excuses. Trump needs to take action. Republicans need to shut the fuck up and stop making excuses for why Trump can't take action. And I am sick and tired of this owning the libs bullshit, making all of this the Democrats' problems when Republicans, when you give them this information, they literally don't do shit. Let's see. The BoomerCon mind can't understand Antifa. No, it can't. It's so true. My brother is a Green Beret and is going to love you. Hey, I hope that's true. This Idaho mom, thanks for that. Dragon Balls, what jaw-dropping is Beck acts like what he's saying is novel, shocking news. The Portland police does nothing, y'all. Yeah, conservatives react and clutch. And yeah, exactly. It's the same thing every time. It's like they're brainwashed into something they can't see out of it. I mean, maybe now that Trump has solved the Israel-Gaza issue, we can solve the Antifa issue. Trump doesn't care about either of those issues. And if you think Trump solved the Israel-Gaza issue, I've got a bridge to sell you, to be quite frank. I don't think that issue's done, and not by any means at all. Yeah, well, see, now you get it. Just kidding. Nothing will change. Exactly. See, Francisco, you knew. You knew, bro. You knew. Appreciate it. Here's some more money for paying so much attention to me. I'm still learning, but I don't have thin skin. All right. Well, you know what? I do appreciate it, dumb phone. I do appreciate it when I yell at people and then they send me money and then they tell me they don't have thin skin. Okay, dumb phone wins the day then. He might still be a conservative retard. We're going to work on that. We're going to beat the conservative retardia out of you with a fucking stick. But I appreciate that you're paying me money after I yell at you. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Conservatives, there won't be arrests because Trump didn't define Antifa to begin with. They have no leaders and they have no billionaire funders. So true. So true. So true. All right, back to this.
Thugs ripping apart their streets, people being assaulted, but by and large, nobody comes. Nobody's going to go and stop them. And you just get used to crap like this. In 2020, a pedophile Antifa member in Portland pled guilty to stabbing a black conservative at a riot. Now, imagine, you would think that he'd be locked down for at least a decade. You know, that's attempted murder. Well, you'd be wrong. How long do you think he spent in time in prison? No prison time. Why do the police refuse to respond to Antifa-related crimes? Why do judges refuse to punish them?
Must be a Democrat conspiracy.
Why do city officials look the other way?
Why does the Trump administration refuse to arrest
them? You have
them?
something else. I mean, it's almost like Antifa has a lot more support, organization, and funding.
Oh, see, now this is the argument. This is now the argument. This is the argument that the conservative retards are making. The reason that Antifa isn't arrested is because George Soros funds the police, and George Soros funds the lawyers, and George Soros funds the DA, and it's all a Democrat conspiracy. And that's why Antifa doesn't get arrested. It's not that the Trump administration refuses to do anything, by the way. It's all that all of these other people who are not Antifa are specifically funded to keep Antifa on the streets. That's what they're talking about. Because again, the conservative strategy here is not to fix the Antifa problem. Conservatives don't give a flying fuck about solving Antifa. Conservatives only care about owning the libs. That's it.
Than what's previously been reported on. Is Antifa more than just a decentralized and leaderless movement?
No, it's
not.
not.
Let me pick
No.
it up there.
Oh, there
next.
it goes. Yeah, it's gotta own the libs, don't we? Gotta own the fucking libs.
It is time to stop letting pain set the agenda for the school.
No
Leadership to try
commercial.
something. They're
No
a
fucking
domestic
commercial.
terror organization. And I want to show you specifically some of the language used in this designation. It claims that they are a militaristic, anarchist enterprise. It uses illegal means to organize and execute a campaign of violence. This campaign involves coordinated efforts. They recruit, train, and radicalize young Americans. They employ elaborate means and mechanisms to conceal its funding sources and operation. Now, I want to point this out because you've never heard Antifa described this way, at least not from Democrats or anybody in the mainstream media.
You've never heard Antifa described that way. Press 1 in the chat if I've been describing Antifa that way for years. You've never heard Antifa described that way? Maybe not from you, Glenn, because you fucking ignored all this shit and pretended it wasn't happening. 1 in the chat if you've heard me describing Antifa that way almost exactly for fucking years. Mm-hmm.
Or liberal think tanks. This is what you're used to seeing. Antifa is a decentralized political movement with no central leadership.
Yes.
Give me another one here. Who are Antifa? Antifa is a decentralized, leaderless movement.
Wait. Wait.
How about this one? A broad.
Wait. Is Glenn Beck making the argument? Oh, holy shit. I think what's happening is Glenn Beck is about to make the argument that the idea that Antifa is a decentralized, non-hierarchical organization is a Democrat conspiracy. That's where this is going, right? Glenn Beck is about to tell his millions and millions and millions of viewers that it is a Democrat conspiracy that Antifa is a decentralized, non-hierarchical organization. That's about what that, yeah, it's about, yeah, okay. Don't tell me that conservatives are serious about this problem when they are completely fucking lying to their audience to own the libs. And guys, this is who the FBI is consulting with to go get Antifa. Glenn Beck, don't worry, guys. The FBI and Glenn Beck are going to figure out who Antifa is, and they're not going to fall for any silly Democrat conspiracy. Okay. Yep. I told you guys they weren't serious about this problem.
And decentralized political movement. Okay, so it's decentralized and leaderless. Did you get that?
Yes. Correct.
They're ramming these words in through our brains time after time after time, and it's in every single source. Why are they doing it? Well,
because it's the
pretty
truth.
Obvious. And this last source inadvertently describes the reason for the subterfuge.
The subterfuge.
In characterizing Antifa's methods,
yeah,
they describe it as, quote, extraordinary, radical, and in some cases, violent and illegal means. So there it is. It has to be decentralized. It has to be a lone wolf. It has to be leaderless. Because the politicians, the police, the activists, and all of the other enablers know that if violent and illegal means are happening, then anyone caught helping, organizing, and funding them should go to jail. And none of these people want to go to jail. They'll use all these crazies, but they don't want to go to jail. So are they a decentralized and leaderless organization? Let me ask you this. You remember when Keith Ellison tweeted a picture of himself holding up a copy of the Antifa handbook? Now, this is an elected official in Minnesota holding this up. Wow.
Has Glenn Beck bothered to read the Antifa handbook? Does Glenn Beck even know what's in that fucking book? Has Glenn Beck ever watched any sort of interview with the author of that book? One in the chat if you think that Glenn Beck has actually read the book that he's referencing right now, or at least done like an overview of it. 2 in the chat if you think that Glenn Beck is saying, look, guys, there's a book called the Antifa Handbook. I don't know what the fuck is in this book, but this book is proof that it's not a decentralized, non-hierarchical organization. It's like Operation Mockingbird has just shifted right using Trump. Yeah. There is no fucking universe in which Glenn Beck has read that book.
Wow, that's quite the commercial. But did you know that the author of that book is Mark Bray?
Yup.
And he's a professor at Dartmouth College.
Yup. Well, Rutgers
now, he allegedly donates half of the proceeds to Antifa. Okay, all right. Okay, whatever.
That's mutual
Except who do
aid.
you write the check to? I mean, if there's no centralization, there's...
You don't write a fucking check. You do it all in cash, you retard. Bad acceptance was more palatable than this. So true. Glenn. There's this thing called cash. Glenn Beck hasn't had to deal with anything as low level as cash in years, I'm sure. There's this thing called cash, Glenn, and you go to the bank and you say, I want to take out $1,000 in cash. And the bank says, what bills would you like that in? And then you tell the bank exactly how you want it. And then they give you the cash. And then you take the cash and you go and give it to the mutual aid organization. That is how that works. There's no fucking check. Who the fuck writes checks anymore anyway? Oh, Glenn, they have these things called ATMs. And if you want to get cash really quick, you go up to the ATM and you put your card in it and then you take the cash out. It's real fucking simple, bro. He's going to say Chandler because they poop at his apartment. Yeah, probably. Chandler is the founder of Antifa, as we all know. Yeah, like paper money. That's still a thing, guys.
No leader. Who do I write the check to? What bank is cashing that? Is he donating to AIR? Is he just opening up somebody who's decentralized and leaderless, come and grab this money? A decentralized movement that hosts training conferences in city like Philadelphia. But they have no apparent leader or organization.
Correct.
Who's planning that? Universities like CUNY in New York. They have entire courses on global Antifa. It's a 14-week course of far-left revolutionary activism at a college located smack dab in the financial epicenter of the world. But it has no recognized leader, no organization.
Yes.
That's bullcrap.
Oh,
and
my
everyone
God.
knows it. I'm going to show you this was just off the
Bro.
cuff, okay? This is how
the
hard
chalkboard.
it really
is.
is.
Here we go.
Okay?
Here we go.
So let's just speculate here for a minute. Let's call it a starting point for people at the FBI or Justice Department as they begin investigating leads.
God.
For far too long, the people potentially supporting Antifa have remained in the shadows. That's what Trump is going to end.
Oh my.
Is Antifa more than just a decentralized and leaderless organization? Well, I've split Antifa up.
You did, William. You did. You guys tried to stop me. You guys said, Karlyn, don't do it. You're going to yell the whole time. You tried to warn me. I know. Oh, shit. Should I light a joint right now? Should I just light a joint? Should that happen? Is this going to become a tradition that Karlyn smokes weed every single fucking time something like this happens? Is this going to become the new tradition on the channel? I've never really gotten high on the channel up until now, but now I have conservative retards talking about Antifa, not knowing what the fuck off they're talking about.
Into 3 different categories: street groups and soldiers, that one, support groups and funding sources. But let me start right at the top with the street groups and soldiers, because
I'm shocked.
This is where the politicians, the media, and the think tanks say, that's the investigation. You just can investigate these guys, nothing else. Don't look here. But the groups are all over the news, going back to around 2016. Groups like Rose City Antifa Portland.
Guys, Antifa's all over the news going back to 2016. 2016. Rose City Antifa. Oh, you broke the case, bro. Case closed. Rose City Antifa, guys. The John Brown Gun Club. Once one becomes hip, he becomes a cool guy. Yeah. Thanks, Boss Bully Boy. Appreciate you. Guys, did you know that Rose City Antifa is the only Antifa organization that conservatives even know about?
Elm Fork, John Brown Gun Club, Eugene Antifa, Oregon, Atlanta, Pittsburgh Antifa, Refuse Fascism, Jane.
Do you know what's so funny about this? There are thousands of Antifa cells all over the country. I've talked with former Antifa members. My initial contention was I thought that there was probably at least 1,000 Antifa cells all over the country. By the way, most Antifa cells are not called Antifa. They don't have Antifa in the name. I thought that there was like about 1,000 probably. Having talked with other former Antifa people, well, I'm not former Antifa, but having talked with former Antifa, I am now almost convinced that I underestimated how many Antifa cells there are. I think there may be more than that. But here's what I know for sure. Glenn Beck has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullet points. 7 bullet points. Okay, Glenn, congratulations. You identified 0.00001 of all the Antifa organizations in the country. Real good job, bro. Crack reporting. You guys have identified a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent. Case closed, though, because you got a few that have Antifa in the title. The vast majority of Antifa organizations do not have Antifa in the title. Congratulations. I don't trust him at all. I don't like. It's so sad. I used to like Glenn Beck, and now we can't trust him because he's just a narrative mouthpiece for the administration.
Antifa, Oregon, Atlanta, Pittsburgh Antifa, Refuse Fascism, Jane's Revenge. Now, you've seen the carnage of these groups all over. We continue to see it every day in places like Chicago and Portland, but this is where we're supposed to stop looking.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't find anything because trail goes cold.
0.0007.
Antifa is decentralized and leaderless. Well, if that is true, are these guys who don't work? A lot of them are on drugs, crazy.
Oh my God.
Are they self-funding
Yes!
all of these things?
Yes.
How do we get to the
Yes.
next category?
Yes.
Which
Glenn, yes. Unironically, yes. They're self-funding all their shit, Glenn. Yes. You just hit the nail on the head. They are self-funded. And by the way, not even those 7 groups that Glenn Beck listed on that chalkboard, not even they work together. None of those groups are affiliated with the other groups. They're all decentralized. Yeah, it was an accident. He it's like a Freudian slip. They can't all be self-funded, can they? Actually, yes, unironically.
is support groups. For
Oh,
instance,
here we go.
The National Lawyers
the National
Guild.
Lawyers Guild.
This is the legal arm for Antifa. You know, if you've been in a riot or seen anything on TV,
how are they funded?
You're watching on the side.
What does your
there are
data
people
say?
standing on the side and they're wearing the green
I know
hats,
what your data
okay?
says.
That's the National Lawyers Guild. They openly brag about how they provide legal support to the street soldiers. But there's no organization in that. No. Next, we have Antifa International. This one's kind of hilarious because the people who describe Antifa as decentralized and leaderless, you have an Antifa International. I mean, it's like BLM Inc.
Glenn, how exactly are all of the Antifa cells in the United States affiliated with Antifa International? Can you go onto Antifa International's website and find a comprehensive list of all the American affiliates with that organization? You guys know, guys, if I wanted to, today, I could start an organization called USA Antifa. I could just do that. Now, am I going to do that? No, I'm not an Antifa. So I'm not going to start an organization called USA Antifa. But conceivably, if I wanted to, I could start an organization called USA Antifa. In fact, maybe I should fucking do this. Hang on. Wait. Okay, no one tell anyone about this idea, okay? I need everyone is in the cone of silence. We're live on the internet right now. There are thousands of people watching, but we are in the cone of silence on the internet, okay? No one tell anyone what I'm about to say. What if we started a website and we called it USA Antifa and we built a whole website called USA Antifa? Could we trick the Trump administration into believing that we are the central organization of USA Antifa? That would actually be pretty fucking funny if we did that. Could we literally just put a website on the internet and create some social media accounts and trick the entire Trump administration into believing that we are the central hub of Antifa because we put up a website? I'm not even kidding. I might just do this. Should we do this? One in the chat if we should do this. One in the chat if you would help us spread the word about USA Antifa. And here's what we would do. We would create a whole Instagram account. We would use AI to create images declaring ourselves as the US central hub of Antifa. You guys would have to post all over social media being really pissed off about this. Like, here's what you're going to have to do. You guys are all going to have to get like, you're going to have to get really pissed off, and you're going to have to go rage post on social media. Like, I can't believe these USA Antifa folks are coordinating all this Antifa activity all over the FBI is going to show up on my door. Christy Noem's going to declare me the leader of it. That would actually be funny as shit. What if the joke got so out of hand that the FBI showed up at my door and they declared me the leader of Antifa in the United States just because I put up a website? This is probably a really bad idea. It's probably a really bad idea that I definitely shouldn't do. This is a really bad idea. Hang on, let me get the super chats. Are any of these people doing any research or what? Like, how can no conservative, including the Trump administration, figure out Antifa? I don't fucking know. Get Antifa certified today. Yeah, we'll create an Antifa certification. That would be funny as shit. We'll create certificates and everything. USA Antifa with our own Tommy Boy video game. Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. Can we put parody? No, you can't put parody. You can't put parody. You have to just let the joke play out, okay? All right, continuing.
From an Antifa fundraiser, and again, who do you write the check to? They're described as, quote, an international anti-fascist collective with years of experience managing the International Anti-Fascist Defense Fund and other anti-fascist projects. So you have no central control, no base of operations or anything else, but you have years of experience managing. Really? How about Antifa International? Antifa International helped fundraise the Legal Defense Fund for the militants that attacked the ICE facility in Texas. And while we're at it, take a look at Community Justice Exchange and their National Bail Fund network. They were bailing people out during the Summer of Rage of George Floyd riots. They're probably worth looking into, specifically due to their major partner, which is, oh my gosh, the Tides Foundation, our old friends.
Oh, wow,
the
the Tides Foundation are funding something that has nothing to do with Antifa.
These connections, these organizations are legion.
Guys, look, the Tide Foundation is funding something that has nothing to do with Antifa at all. Glenn Beck cracked the case. They cracked the case, guys. It's all over. It's all over. Hang on. I'm doing something very important right now. Hang on. Hang on. One sec. You guys are really going to love it. I just registered usaantifa.com. I'm just saying, don't tell anyone. This is our secret.
We are legion. Yeah, that's probably what they say. Anyway, remember, as per all the politicians, media experts, no centralized organization. Okay, but you have the support groups that are supporting them with no organization. And then you have this, funding sources. Now, this is interesting. Again, who do you write the check to? This is split between nonprofits and foundations.
I'm about to get arrested for creating a website.
Now, I already mentioned.
It's true. I'm going to get arrested for creating a fucking website. It's over. It's over. Joke over. Satire over. MAGA is getting themselves to get punked by leftists. You are trying to stop that. Yeah, I'm trying to fool MAGA. I'm trying to play a prank on MAGA just to stop them from getting a prank played on them by leftists. Really, I'm doing MAGA. I am doing MAGA a service by creating a website that is pretending to be the U.S. central hub of Antifa. I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to help them see how stupid all this is. Because obviously they're not going to wake up on their own. We need to hit them in the head with something hard to get them to wake the fuck up.
The Tides Foundation, one of the darkest of the dark left-wing radical money funnels on the planet.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who knows all the trails that lead back to Tides? But just for starters, let's look at these. Tides Foundation funds an organization called Alliance for Global Justice. Money from here. They refunnel money to groups like Refuse Fascism. They also give to the National Lawyers Guild, over $1 million from 2018 to 2019 alone. Are you going to write a check for $1 million to a leaderless group that has no organization at all and just say, yeah, you guys know what to do with it? Who knows what to do with it?
I'm going on the whiteboard.
This is how the radical left-wing money trail operates. It's designed to be opaque. It's designed to be confusing and disappear. But the connections are all there. So why haven't we done anything about it up until now? Okay, up next, who else but George Soros?
Oh, there it is. There it is. Soros is funding Antifa, guys. We did it. Case cracked. Game over, Antifa. Glenn Beck fully demonstrating he can't understand the left because he can't think outside of money or the conservative mindset. Yep. Thanks, average person.
Spooky Dudes, Open Society Foundation. They also fund the Alliance for Global Justice. They also are with the Antifa support groups. The charitable funding sources are legion for just that one.
Like what?
Then you have Fidelity Investments.
No evidence.
Where do you have your money invested? Fidelity Investments Charitable Gift Fund. They donate to the National Lawyers Guild. Also, Schwab Charitable Fund. Boy, if I had my money in Schwab,
absolute retard.
Or Fidelity, I don't know if I would have it. They're giving to the people who are supporting these people. I mean, I could go on, and we haven't even gotten to the crowdfunding platforms. You have ActBlue and Patreon. You have Fundraiser, the Action Network. Then you have book sales.
Action Network is where all leftist organizations post events. That's where they post organizing calls. Antifa doesn't advertise their organizing calls on Action Network. That's indivisible, bro. Magical thinking, connecting dots that don't exist. Guys, Patreon funds Antifa. Breaking news. Breaking news.
Book sales? Oh, yeah, book sales, like the college professor that produced the Antifa handbook. Look, I'm not accusing anyone here. I'm just saying this is pretty much off the top of my head.
Wait. Glenn Beck has so much evidence to back up his claims that he's like, I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just making this up off the top of my head. I'm not making any accusations, though, because I'm literally just making this shit up. I have no evidence to back up any of it. But guys, I can't make an accusation because if I was making an accusation, then I could get sued. I'm just telling you, I'm just pontificating about what might be happening. This story that I have carefully crafted in my head that has nothing to do with fucking Antifa. If you think the information's correct, Glenn, then why aren't you making an accusation? Sorry, I would trust Nick more than Glenn. He'll at least say you're the expert. Yeah, I trust Nick every single day more than I trust Glenn Beck.
I'm just showing the connections that have a very strong odor attached to them. And I've followed these people long.
I'm not saying I have evidence. I'm not going to present you evidence. There's just an odor wafting in the air. And I have followed the odor from one organization I don't like to another organization I don't like to another organization I don't like because there is an odor in the air. No evidence, but an odor.
Enough to know this is the way it works.
Okay.
This one chalkboard alone is enough for the Trump administration just to start. I mean, just start. And they are. It should be enough alone just to debunk the ridiculous notion. Just the question, Who are you writing checks to? $1 million.
Who the fuck writes checks anymore? I literally have not written a check probably in like 10 fucking years. Who is writing checks? Who said any fucking thing about writing checks?
$1 check. Who's cashing it? What bank? Where is this happening? Schwab is giving to just street kids who, what? It's ridiculous to believe that.
Yeah, you can send a super chat via check.
Antifa now has been designated as a terrorist organization. It is about time.
Yeah.
And it is time to turn over all of the stones.
It's all over.
I am proud to
you
say
write
that
checks
after
to
the
Jeff?
first of the year,
Oh no.
we're turning over not just the little stones, we're turning over the big boulders as well.
Yeah,
We
okay.
will show you in an epic special much more on this. Okay, after the break, I'm going to come back. Nick Sorter joins me from Portland.
We're done.
I talked to him earlier.
We're done. We're not watching Nick Sorter. We're done. We're done. I have done all the yelling I can do. I don't need to listen to Nick Sorter. I know what Nick Sorter is going to say. Whatever. Glenn Beck, complete failure, complete con, complete bullshit, misinforming millions of people. This is just more evidence that the Trump administration doesn't know what the fuck it's doing, doesn't know what it's talking about, ain't going to do nothing to solve Antifa. Next up, beehives are a conspiracy. Yeah. Well, guys, normally I would actually stay and watch the whole video, but I can't. Because we're going to go do something far more productive. We are going to go listen to the actual radical revolutionary far left. And you know what? You don't need me to do a chalkboard interpretation of what the far left is doing. We're going to go inside their meeting. We're going to listen to what they say in their meeting. There's going to be no confusion. We're going to watch the whole thing from start to finish. And if you would like to join us, the very best place to do that is by heading over to my Substack and signing up for a membership, $8 a month, $80 a year, because this is a supporter-exclusive spy stream starting in about 10 minutes. Okay? If you are a YouTube channel member, you can join us for Spy Stream. You can find the link information on the community or the post tab, whatever that's called. But I did post it out to all channel members earlier today. If you are on my main Substack, karlyn.substack.com. If you're a supporter on my locals, kb.locals.com. If you're a supporter on my Patreon, I don't even remember what the address of that is, but it's on Patreon. Or if you are a Twitter subscriber, you will be able to access the link information and come and join us for the training. Oh, yeah, he's got Glenn Beck's got information on a chalkboard, therefore, ergo, everything he says is correct. You're right about that. Did you just post this to piss me off, Mission? And yeah, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Conservative sucks. No, I do not accept checks for membership. No. Get your damn debit card. Sign up with that. All right? Sign up with that. Guys, we're going to go do Spy Stream now. I will be, I don't know if I'm going to do protest coverage tonight. I guess we'll have to play it by ear. I have a lot of stuff I need to do tonight, so I may not do protest coverage tonight because I have other stuff I need to do. We do have the Center for Left-Wing Studies meeting later at 8:30, and so we're going to go do that now. So now that I've yelled at Glenn Beck and confirmed that he doesn't know what he's talking about, we're going to go listen to the real far left now. I will see you guys on the other side. Take care, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.